Jody, let's start with you. What will you most remember from 2015?
May 5th, I was lucky enough to be sent to the Sutton Hotel where the NDP party was gathering.
Oh, wow.
I think we might have made a little bit of history tonight.
So I was there with our legislature reporter at the time, Mariam Ibrahim. And all the polls, of course, had said that the NDP was ahead. And being an Albertan, I did not believe it. I was very, very skeptical. So we went there expecting sort of a usual story. I did not think the NDP was going to win, despite the polls. And all of a sudden, things blew up like crazy. Results started to come in. The room was crowded with people dressed in orange. And as all these new MLAs were being voted in, it was my job and several other reporters' jobs to try to find these new MLAs and get quotes from them for various people's stories. And we didn't know who any of these people were. And the place was crazy. I mean, there were the old NDP people that I would recognize, like Raj Panu and Ray Martin. Linda Duncan was there. And then I had to find all these new MLAs amongst this crowd. And it was crazy. There would be another word for it, but I won't say it on radio.
Well, you know, what an extraordinary year. But I have to say that for me, the moment that will always be with me was standing in the waiting pool outside the legislature as Rachel Notley was sworn in and as she announced her cabinet and they were sworn in.
Welcome to the first day of Alberta's new government.
Because I wasn't part of the official press party. I think Jody was, who were up sort of, you know, in the press positions. I'd come more like a regular person. And in that crowd, it was incredibly scorching hot that day. I decided the only way I would see would be to climb into the pool, which I did, where I was surrounded by people. It was like pilgrims waiting in the Ganges. It was the most extraordinary thing. And then we stood there and waited to see who was going to be sworn into what position, you know, who was going to get what job. And I mean, I've been to a lot, you know, I've seen cabinet swearings in before, but nothing like this.
And not in your bare feet with ice creams going around and people partying.
And it was extraordinary. There was this family next to me, and they had a little one who was very excited, one about, you know, 6 or 7. And then their older daughter who was 13 and too cool for life. And, you know, she was on her phone, and the dad saying, no, pay attention to this. This is history. You'll never see anything like this ever again. And she said, I can watch it again tonight on YouTube. And I thought, no, sweetie, that's not what Dad meant. Yeah. So that was a thing to be there in that moment. And, you know, the honeymoon gloss may have come off, but that is something that I think anybody who is there is going to remember for always.
I got to say, for me, as a political journalist, the debate.
Yes.
You know, we entered that election with polls saying a 3-way race. And I got to say, I didn't believe it. I thought, come on, the polls got them wrong in 2012.
Yeah, they certainly did, yeah.
3-way race, really? And then as we get into the election campaign, the race is still, you know, the NDP is doing really well. Like, they're in front in many polls, especially in Edmonton. We knew they'd do well here, but province-wide, come on. That debate, when you had Prentice focused on Notley, then we're looking at going, wait a minute, he believes the polls. He believes that the NDP is actually in front because the way he is handling this, he's ignoring Brian Jean and focused on Notley. Of course, he made some flubs, the famous math is difficult quote.
I know that math is difficult.
And you saw Rachel Notley there really shine because Prentice was putting all the attention on her, and she did really, really well. And I think that was both a turning point. Also, it showed us where the polls were actually correct. Plus, I think Albertans said, hey, you know, Notley is doing really well. And I think that convinced me that night, and probably convinced a lot of Albertans that the NDP was going to potentially win this election, had a really good chance. So the debate, to me, was a fascinating night, watching how politics was actually changing in front of us.